Welcome, I'll be discussing my 6 favorite movies. If you follow along with my tentative schedule, you'll know that this is coming out earlier than it was supposed to, and that's because I'm a little bit under the weather and wanted to give you a good movie reaction, not me half asleep. Starting with number 6, The Importance of Being Earnest. This is my favorite stage play, and this movie is my favorite adaptation of that play. They understood that film was a different medium, so they really utilized some beautiful locations, got us offset as it were, added a fantastic score. They have the perfect cast. There are no weak links here. Everyone is absolutely brilliant. In addition, they enhanced it with pre-Raphaelite paintings. So at key moments in the story, you see our characters dressed as the pre-Raphaelites, kind of recreating famous paintings.
Besides, of course, there is the question of your name.
Yes, of course.
You mustn't laugh at me, darling, but it has always been a girlish dream of mine to love someone whose name was Earnest.
As many of you might already be aware, I'm not a huge romantic, so it's very rare for me to enjoy a romantic comedy. This is one of the few exceptions because it is just so brilliant. It has social commentary in it. Oscar Wilde is just amazing. Plus, there's an additional scene that this movie added, which I think is both the most romantic moment of all time and hilarious. Like, if I ever dated someone, I might recreate this scene. I'm just warning you right now. I would find a friend with a piano, and we would do it.
They never know the lover's pain, and I who loved as loves a boy must love in vain, must love in vain. Come down, lady, come down.
The humor is just my style. It's on the witty, clever side with an edge of slapstick to it. For example, the famous muffins scene, I think I've put it in one of my other reactions. Like, how can you eat muffins at a time like this? There's another scene where the two women are slightly quarreling and they have this elegant table and Cecily is like, "Do you take cake?" And Gwendolyn's going, "Oh no, no one eats cake in the best houses anymore." And Cecily quietly just cuts her this massive piece and hands it over. And just like, "Do you take sugar in your tea?" "No." Cecily starts putting more and more sugar in. Clink, 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 clink. And Gwendolyn takes a sip of the sugared tea and is like, "You go too far." Oh, it's just hilarious. My absolute favorite scene for comedy, however, is the infamous interview.
Do you smoke?
Well, yes, I must admit I smoke.
I'm glad to hear it. A man should always have an occupation of some kind. There are far too many idle men in London as it is. Ignorance is like a delicate, exotic fruit. Touch it, and the bloom is gone. The whole theory of modern education is radically unsound. Fortunately, in England, at any rate, education produces no effect whatsoever.
This movie is just such a treasure. I love it. This is also a stage play that I try to see as often as possible. It's just so charming and elegant and beautifully done. Completely changing gears. Number 5 is Gladiator. It is just so visually spectacular. I love this sense of complementary colors. Orange and blue. Almost every scene is either predominantly orange or blue or a combination of the both, or they switch back and forth. I love it when that happens. My former art student self is like, this is one of those films where you could pause it at any time, take a screenshot, and post it as a mural on your wall. The cinematography is just that perfect. In addition to its general production style and quality, the fight choreography is outstanding. People know how to use shields in this. That is one of my pet peeves. Not only do we get some amazing gladiator fights, but that opening battle is truly epic. We get a wide range of fights in this, from that all the way to one-on-one, to the group arena scene, and of course, that ending.
Whatever comes out of these gates, we've got a better chance of survival if we work together.
One of the other main reasons that I like this film, and probably most of the ones on my list, is the incredible music. This is a soundtrack that I listen to on its own all the time. It has this amazing balance between a haunting feel to it and also just pumping you up. So oddly, if you're looking for a piece of music that will settle you down after a stressful day, there are those pieces on this soundtrack. And also, if you're looking for something for, say, kickboxing, they've got you covered there too. So amazing job on that. The biggest reason that I love Gladiator is the line delivery of all the actors. They give me chills multiple times, in addition to the famous, "My name is Gladiator." There are so many amazing lines in this film.
You knew Marcus Aurelius?
I did not say I knew him. I said he touched me on the shoulder once.
Win the crowd, and you'll win your freedom. I will win the crowd. I will give them something they've never seen before.
Coming back to the comedy side of things again, The Mummy Returns is my number 4. This is one that I put on when I'm just feeling overwhelmed and want a fun adventure story and little else. A cupcake of icing in a movie. Nothing substantial, just genuinely entertaining. Unlike Zorro, where the sequel, like so many others, starts out with the main couple breaking apart, arguing, not getting along, and the main theme of the second film is identical to the first one, which is the love interests coming back together. I can't stand it when sequels do that. It's like it undoes the entire first film. The Mummy Returns does not. Rick and Evie appear on the screen even more in love than they were the first time. They might not be the best parents because they're always off adventuring. However, they genuinely love their family.
What would I do without you?
Are all librarians this much trouble?
Jeez, get a room.
Also, the fight choreography in this one is so much better than the first film. Are you sensing a theme here with my obsession with battle sequences? Anyway, it is so wildly inaccurate when it comes to weapons, so I'm not talking about the accuracy level of the fight choreography here. I'm talking about the coolness factor. You cannot watch this sequence and not be like, nice. Towards the end, Anaxanamun, the so-called eternal love of this series, sees Imhotep in trouble and she's like, yeah, I'm out, and runs, rather than risk her own life to save him. Meanwhile, Evie, the not epic eternal love, is like, oh no, not on my watch, and goes right out to save Rick. There's a look that Imhotep gives to that couple, even as the villain, where he's like, respect. That's what love is, right before he dies. And I love that moment between them. It's rare that you get that from a villain, where he has this connection with our heroes, like, wow, that was incredible. And realizes that maybe he was wrong, and he comes around to their point of view. It's too late, but there is that moment, and I love it.
No! Get out of here! Just get out of here!
Does this film have incredibly cheesy CGI? Yes. Does that lower the fact that I absolutely adore it? No. Well done effects won't save a bad film, and poorly done effects, like in this one, to me don't lower a film. Obviously it's wonderful if both of them are great, but that doesn't happen very often. So while I enjoyed the first Mummy film, this one is my favorite of the two. I don't really talk about the third one. We pretend that it didn't happen. Number 3 is Master and Commander. Now at this point you're probably wondering, is she a Russell Crowe fan? The answer is no. It's a strange coincidence that he's in 2 of my favorite films. I think we just have similar taste in screenplays. The reason I love this one is that it's an adaptation of one of my favorite book series, the Aubrey and Maturin Maritime Adventure series. Is it a perfect adaptation? No, I go into that in a different video. However, they captured the spirit of the characters and the books, so this shows how you don't have to be word for word as a book adaptation to do a good job. They did. They pulled it off.
England is under threat of invasion. And though we be on the far side of the world, this ship is our home. This ship is England. After all, surprise is on our side.
Once again, we have outstanding cinematography in every shot. As you've probably noticed, I love tall ships. All those beautiful footage of them going along. Love it. And then, of course, the score, again, Yo-Yo Ma. He knocks it out of the park. I listen to it all the time. I have a Master and Commander, Pride and Prejudice, and Sharp's Rifles kind of mashup playlist that I call Ballroom and Battles. I would show you more of that, but music tends to block videos. So just go look it up. I highly recommend it, especially if you love classical music. The real star of this movie is the Rose. She portrayed the surprise in a lot of the scenes. I got to go aboard her down in San Diego, one of the best memories of my entire life. They also worked really hard on historical accuracy for this film, and it shows. This is not sloppy, it is a masterpiece. It's just a hidden gem of a movie that should be talked about more. It should have had a sequel. Instead, you barely hear about it. It's such a shame. It's like it got lost to time. I'm not sure what happened. This should be on, I think, every single best movie list ever. I mean, I'm very biased. I love tall ships. But even setting that aside, it is such a genuinely well done film. Every time I watch it, it moves me.
Tell me this wasn't on my account.
Not at all. I just needed to stretch my legs.
Number 2 on my list is Tamasha. I'm not entirely sure if that's how you pronounce it. Please correct me in the comments. But it might be one that you've never heard of. It is an Indian film that I stumbled upon by accident, and I started watching it having no idea what it was. I'm not even sure what genre I would put it in. It kind of defies categorization. Maybe a coming-of-age story? Have you ever come across a book or movie character that you connected with so completely that they felt almost like a soul twin? I'm not talking, oh, I like that character. I mean, I am that person. Like, you connect with them completely. That's what happened to me here. After first watching this, I was staring at the screen going, what was that? How did they know, like, my most innermost thoughts? That was wild.
और यहाँ तुम एक्टिंग कर रहे हो. ये तुम रोल प्ले कर रहे हो, एक रेगुलर आदमी का रोल जो एक सेट पैटर्न पर चलता है, जो बगैर सोचे हुए हर काम वैसे ही करता है जैसे उसको करना चाहिए. ये तुम नहीं हो वेद. ये सब नकली है.
It starts out with this really cheerful musical feel to it, kind of a romantic comedy, typical look, and I was like, oh, here we go again. Well, it's a bit more imaginative than the others, and I like the setting. The music is great, but I was kind of zoning out a bit. And then everything changes. Just boom. Completely different film. And you're just like blindsided the first time you watch it. It hits you right in the feels. By the end, I pretty much just wanted everybody I knew to watch this film. It is outstanding. It plays with the rules of what you expect in a movie. It surprises you. I don't think it's for everyone. It is kind of an artistic film. It's on the edge there. It's not standard fare, I guess you could say, for going to the movies. It feels like it belongs in a really artistic film festival. Maybe that's how it started, I don't know. I am unsure of the background on this particular movie, but I can say that whenever I feel like I've lost my way and I'm not sure what to do, or I have a big decision to make, I come back to Tamasha. Just thinking about it is making me cry. You can tell how much this film means to me. Take a look, see what you think for yourself. I won't spoil the plot for you, but wow. Just wow. Obviously, the music is fantastic. I hope I could keep a clip in for you to see briefly, but I sing along to it all the time. I don't want to give too much away about the story if you haven't seen it, but this film just means a lot to me. What you're probably here for, though, is what is my favorite film, and that is Casablanca. It has been in my number 1 or number 2 slot as favorite film for as long as I can remember. I saw this when I was very young and was instantly taken by it. At first, I was really into all the banter that goes on between characters. I loved the pickpockets, where one of the characters keeps bumping into people and taking their wallet. I mean, obviously I'm not condoning that. It's just a hilarious bit that keeps coming up in the film, to the point where the in-the-know characters, he'll run into them and they'll instantly be like, oh good, it's still there. There was a time when I pretty much didn't leave the house without a trench coat and a fedora because of Humphrey Bogart in this film. At this point, I've seen it so many times that I can pretty much just sit down, close my eyes, and watch the entire film because I have it memorized. With the coming of the Second World War, many eyes turned hopefully or desperately towards the freedom of the Americas. Lisbon became the great embarkation point, but not everyone could get directly to Lisbon, and so a tortuous, roundabout refugee trail sprang up. Paris to Marseille, across the Mediterranean to Oran, and then by train or auto or foot, across the rim of Africa to Casablanca in French Morocco. Here the fortunate ones, through money or influence or luck, might obtain exit visas and scurry to Lisbon, and from Lisbon to the New World. But the rest wait in Casablanca, and wait, and wait, and wait.
Then by train or auto or foot across the rim of Africa to Casablanca in French Morocco. Here the fortunate ones, through money or influence or luck, might obtain exit visas and scurry to Lisbon.
Yeah, I could go on, but I'll stop there for your sanity. One of the reasons I was able to do that is I obtained this amazing book when I was pretty little. It is the entire screenplay along with little miniature old school screenshots. I even penciled in lines that they forgot to include. Yeah, I noticed, because I am that much of an obsessed fan. As I've gotten older, I've started to appreciate it even more. When I was younger, I didn't understand the whole I give up on life attitude that Rick has, and now I've been around enough to know, oh, I get it now. I see you, Rick. So for me, the film has actually gotten richer and more complicated as I've gotten older, which is amazing considering the slapdash method that they used for filming it. They basically just threw together a group of people and said, okay, we've bought the rights to this play, but we're not sure we actually want to really recreate it. We're not sure what we want to do. Let's start filming now. I remember one of the interviews, a writer mentioned, Oh, they realized that there wasn't enough comedy, so they brought in an additional writer to come in, make things funnier. They brought in another new writer to handle the Paris flashback scenes to add a more romantic feel. But basically, there was no planning. Somehow, they got the right people together at the right time, and they made what I think is one of the greatest films of all time. Here's a quote from Ingrid Bergman about filming. "I didn't know from one day to the other what we were going to do. I was quite upset sometimes." Yeah, she didn't even know which guy her character would end up with at the end. They were planning multiple endings. So if you think Ilsa looks a little bit confused as to who her leading man is, that's because the actor didn't know.
Then it all adds up to one thing. You're getting on that plane with Victor where you belong.
But Richard, no one.
Now, you've got to listen to me. Inside of us, we both know you belong with Victor. You're part of his work, the thing that keeps him going. If that plane leaves the ground and you're not with him, you'll regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life.
But what about us?
We'll always have Paris.
This is actually a great place to end on because it's a reminder that even if you feel like nothing is going right and you have no idea what you're doing, you can still make an outstanding whatever it is, like Casablanca. Just go for it.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.